Hey guys, so this person, Breakthrough, I believe his name is, Breakthrough, he is very unbiased, and he goes out of his way to tell you how unbiased his opinion is, so you know how unbiased he is. So, The Last of Us 2. Now, this guy, he doesn't outright come out and say it, but he kind of insinuates that people who do things have opinions about this game and because of the leaks are just man babies. They're little they're idiots who are telling others to boycott the game and this and that you shouldn't do that and grow up. What are you, 9 years old and blah blah blah, all that stupid shit. So you guys know what I said. I left a comment. First, I said, take a shot every time he says unbiased, because within the first 30 seconds, he says it like 4 or 5 times. And I said, also, the fact is, you say you accept people's opinions, yet you call out the quartering on his. The quartering also made a video talking about him. So you accept opinions as long as they're aligned with yours. Most people aren't saying not to buy the game. Most people say buy the game if you want, but don't be too surprised when it turns out to be just a bunch of shitty identity politics. And that's true. I mean, I think even I said something like, go ahead, you can buy it if you want, but don't be surprised when it's bad. So most people, the only people who are really saying boycott the game are the people in the descriptions, in the comments. Most content creators are saying, go ahead, buy it. That's just my opinion. In my opinion, this is, gonna be a shit game. You can buy it if you want. I said the same thing. I'm like, I know it's gonna be shit. And a lot of people were like, you know, thank you for saving me $60. And because most people, it can be a great game. It could. But the fact that they're still adding identity politics into it, I mean, I said in the last time, Joel is a huge character. He's like one of the main characters of the games. And he gets taken out by a ma'am with a golf club. Not in a cool way, no, with a golf club. You have this guy who you've kind of seen grow as like a father throughout the game, the first game with him and Ellie and all that, and you grow attached to those characters. And then to see him taken out by a golf club, by a ma'am, this strong looking, this huge built female who I'm guessing is transgendered. Everyone's saying it's transgendered, so it's not just my opinion. But to see him being taken out in such a distasteful way, all just because she's a woman and she's strong and she can take down men and she wants revenge and blah blah blah. So most people know that the game's going to be filled with identity politics, and like I said, if you want to add your personal politics in, that's fine. Don't make it in your face though. For a while it's like with like Doctor Who. Politics have always been a part of Doctor Who, but it hasn't been in your face. They were pretty neutral and they played both sides. They showed you the good sides of one side and they showed you the good sides of the other side. The bad sides of one side and bad side of the other side. But then, Jodie Whittaker comes along and it's just one way the entire time. White man bad, straight white man bad, patriarchy down with the patriarchy, strong female empowerment, and it's just one tone the entire time. They don't show both sides. They're just their side all the way, nothing else but that. So it comes off as rather biased. But we're gonna watch a little bit of this. I don't want. It's only 5 minutes, but I really don't care too much to let him have too much of a say because, I mean, especially he says right up here, toxic community confirmed. Because you have a opinion about the game that isn't aligned with his, it's suddenly a toxic community. And he wants to call everyone else a 9, 10-year-old. Shame I'm not on there.
Subscribe to Breakthrough Gaming. Needs to be addressed. Now, this is not at all a video supporting The Last of Us Part 2 or going against The Last of Us Part 2. Unlike a lot of YouTubers that I've been talking.
Yeah, he said it's not going with it or against it, and yet the entire time he's basically bashing the people who go against it. So he needs to stop what he's doing, think about what he's saying, and because he's just like this way, that way, backtracking. It's not a good thing.
Crap about the game, I try to be as unbiased as possible. I try to put my emotions apart from my logic and my research, and I try to give it in an unbiased point of view. It's the only way that things continue to change and to grow in the right direction. So with that said, here's the issue that I have, and this is something that should have been addressed a long time ago, and I purposely ignored it because I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, but it needs to be addressed and it needs to be fixed now. The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be successful whether we want it to or not. Whether you're getting this game...
Debatable. I mean, yeah, there are going to be people who are going to buy it, but I don't think it's going to be considered a success, considering, like I said, most people are tired of this identity politics bullshit that they seem to need to add into every fucking game now. Now, if this was just, like I said, just subtle stuff and not in your face, players probably wouldn't mind it as much. But the fact is, it's shoved in your face, just like every other piece of media now. Video games, movies, TV shows, commercials, everything now, comic books, everything has to be directly in your face. It's like they don't know how to be subtle anymore. They want to pass a message, but instead of doing it in a subtle way, they just outright shove it in your face, like white man bad, patriarchy bad, if you're a cis white man, you're bad, strong females, this and it's in your face. But if you want to do that, it's subtlety. You have to be subtle about it as to not corrupt the message that you're trying to portray through your story, because the political ideology of it is not the story. That's just shit you're adding into the plot of the story. So it's like I said, it's just like Doctor Who or Star Trek, Star Wars, stuff that people have loved that they're, kind of fucking up now. So take a Doctor Who episode. The story is not, if you want to take a story, say, like Nikola Tesla, that's great. Nikola Tesla, great historical figure, Thomas Edison, battling it out, kind of seeing who invents what first. That's the plot of the story. Maybe they're being attacked by some alien, and in the beginning of the episode we see that, right? What happens? Usually it starts off, some big thing is happening, the doctor comes in, and the rest of the episode the doctor is trying to figure out what the aliens are, what they're doing there, and in the last act, how to defeat them. And that's a typical Doctor Who episode, and that would be the plot. So, we would see the aliens, of course. We would constantly see the battle of Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, and that would be the plot. But when you start interjecting Thomas Edison was a bad white man who was stealing ideas, or then you add like character and you make them say something about how hard it is to be a woman, that has nothing to do with the plot. That's just shit you're interjecting just to get your opinion out there. See what it is? It doesn't... If you want something like Thomas Edison being a person, because apparently he was kind of taking ideas, that's fine. But don't call it out so many times as to make it seem like, you just have a thing against white men saying that, white men just take ideas from everyone. If you want to add something about hard being a woman, then go ahead, but make it part of a plot. Like, like Amelia Earhart, saying that she couldn't do it because she's a woman and this and that. That's fine because it's part of the plot. It's historically there. Don't just interject it because that's your opinion. So
or not, whether you're choosing to boycott the game or not, it's going to be successful. Inevitably. A lot of people are excited, and considering the amount of people that The Last of Us Part 1 had, that's all I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. I'm not showing any extra love or trying to be biased. Considering all the love that The Last of Us Part 1 had and how many millions of people were expecting The Last of Us Part 2, statistically, from a logical point of view, this game is going to do good whether we boycott it or not. So for that reason alone, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, again, I feel like I'm talking to a 10-year-old just trying to correct myself every 5 seconds to reassure you that I'm not trying to attack anyone. It's ridiculous, but to that
I'm not trying to attack anyone, and yet I'm going to call you a bunch of idiots, 9-year-olds, and tell you that your opinion is wrong because you don't like the game. But I'm not. I'm not calling anyone out or being unbiased. So you see? Do you see? So this goes on the whole time. He fucking just talks about how unbiased he is and how successful the game's going to be, and basically anyone who disagrees with him is stupid and childish, and that don't put leaks in my comments because I don't approve of that, and blah blah blah, and stupid bullshit. And
back to him explaining where Naughty Dog fucked up, which they did in many things, and also explaining why we should also let this ride out by itself without giving hate into it, without
yeah, just let it ride out. So if you have an opinion, nope, doesn't matter because you should just let it ride out. Well, shouldn't that could be said about a lot of things, but that's the great thing about the human race. And the great thing about America and a lot of other countries, we have that freedom. We have the freedom to voice our opinion. And when you try to control that, and he got a lot of hate when he did this. You can't even see his like to dislike ratio. That is how unbiased he actually is. He's scared of seeing all the downvotes. He was probably getting so many downvotes, then that's when he turned it off. But he's not biased or anything. People who go out of the way like him to say how unbiased he is are the ones who are being very biased. The ones who are going out saying, well, that's racist. That's racist. Those are the ones who are actually racist. And you see it every day. I just did a video showing people with about online voting, or where they're saying about black people don't know how to get to the DMV, and that black people don't have fucking ID cards. And of course, it was a bunch of white liberals saying that these black people were stupid and they couldn't find the DMV, or they didn't have an ID card. So the ones saying that they're not racist are the ones who are racist. So when he's saying he's unbiased, I'm just unbiased and I'm not criticizing anyone. But I'm gonna turn off my like to dislike ratio because I'm terrified of seeing all those dislikes. But I'm not unbiased or anything. Yeah, that seems to be an issue. And then when we get to the point where you're censoring people or trying to censor, deleting comments you don't agree with, censoring, turning off the like to dislike ratio, and then eventually, some points, just getting to the point where they just block everything with the comments. And I mean, that's no different than, I don't know, living in North Korea, China, and everywhere else that doesn't allow free speech. Because see, that's what makes America great, and a lot of other countries great, is they have free speech. They can voice their opinions without having to worry about being silenced. So even though it's a video, when you start silencing people and deleting comments and deleting ratio, not showing ratios, that kind of shows character about who you are. So he can say he's unbiased, but he's biased. He's on the side of Last of Us 2, You know he's the one who's like, "Hey guys, don't hate the game. Don't hate the game until you play it. It's gonna be a great experience, no matter what anyone else says, because they're just meanie weenie poopy heads who they're just toxic members of the community." Well, then I guess every single player is toxic right now because no one likes this. I mean, and he even said he's like, apparently I'm the only YouTuber left who agrees with the game. So apparently it's not just a small portion of the community, it's a majority of the community. And when the majority of the community is having a problem with something, it's not toxic. It's a franchise that has been established and people enjoy, and is being ruined by identity politics, which people are tired of. That small portion, those are the ones who, either may not care either way, or, oh my god, I feel like I'm being represented in this game. I'm going to play it. And that's very minuscule. You know, the LGBTQ community makes up a very small portion of America, and they try to make these games to placate to these people, and they're only a small portion when they should be worrying about, 99% of the actual base. Yeah, some fans are going to be like, oh, well, I don't feel represented. Well, you're like 1% of the population, so you're not going to be hugely represented because you're not the majority of the people who play this game. You know? So, as I've said, I have a feeling it's not going to do very well. It's still going to have millions, but it's not going to be what they want. Because, as I said, people are they're tired of it. And every time I see a comment, there's like 1,000 comments, and it's like, I'm not buying this game. Thanks for saving me $60. I'll just rent it from a friend or something. So, it's not just a small opinion. This is a huge opinion. People are tired of it. And the sooner these companies learn that, the better. Because, quite frankly, this is going to kill the game industry like it's killing the comic book industry. With all these new woke heroes, it's killing the comic book industry. There's nothing creative coming out. There's nothing original coming out. And it's going to kill video games. Well, at least for Sony and Xbox and all that, because they're the ones who mainly do this. Nintendo, not so much. I mean, you can say, oh, well, in Animal Crossing, you can pick colored characters. And, well, our Animal Crossing is supposed to kind of reflect real life, so it makes sense to have a customizable a player to where it can look like you. That makes sense. But when you're interjecting diversity and identity politics and all that into games that really don't need it, that's when it's like the saying, get woke, go broke. Or you can say go woke, get broke. But that's not good English. Either way, when these companies go woke, they go broke. So, like I said, if you want to buy the game, fine. But as I said, don't be surprised when it turns out to be just a shit show. And you might say, oh yeah, there were some good things about the game. But don't try to hide it and say, oh, this game was fantastic. Just say for what it is. There were a few good gameplay moments in it, and some of the story was good, but they had way too much identity politics added in. And if this fails, I have a feeling it will. It's not going to sell like it should. They're going to come out and blame all the toxic fans, or not even the fans. They're just like, toxic community, and you're just a bunch of hateful, racist, misogynist, homophobes, isms, phobes, whatever they can throw at us. And just like they've done everything else. Oh, you don't like Captain Marvel? Oh, you must be you must be misogynist, sexist. Oh, you don't like this? You must be a homophobe. No, we're tired of having this shit purposely shoved in our faces. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a privileged white cis male who has an opinion that is disagreeable with others. What do I know? My opinion isn't important. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this game will do well, or do you think it's going to be exactly how you think it's going to end. Where Naughty Dog's going to come out and say, "Well, we failed, but it wasn't because of us. It was because all the fans, they were boycotting the game, and they're just a bunch of homophobes and misogynists, and they can't appreciate things like this when they see it. And it's going to take us a long time before we're at the point in our lives where people can play a game and accept characters for who they are." But, yeah. Anyways, thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.